Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So in this video we are going to look at a very important topic, that is progressions, and in this video we are going to look at AP, GP and HP, and they are quite important in terms of aptitude exams. So many different questions are asked and students get confused whether it is a question we have to simplify it in some or the other manner, but it can be solved using AP, GP and HP. So in this video we are going to look at some questions like that, and also we are going to discuss some tips and tricks which can help you to understand these concepts better. So if you are new here, make sure to subscribe to the Gbox family by clicking the subscribe button, and also make sure to click the bell icon for all the latest notifications. Also, you can join our Telegram channel, for which all the links are mentioned in the description box below. So let's get started. So there are some type of questions in progressions which we can deal with the help of the formulas in AP, GP and HP. So what are these types of questions? Finding the first term, the last term and the nth term of a series can be done with the help of the progressions which we are going to look at. Then we have finding the sum till nth term. So you are given a series and you are asked to find the sum till the nth term. That can be again done with these formulas. Finding the nth term if two different sums are given. So basically if you are given sum up till n plus 1th term and you are given sum till nth term, then you can find the nth term by the difference of those sums. So they are also asked and can be solved. And then we have finding the common term in two different series. So you have two different series and you need to find the common term or the lowest common term in these two series. That can also be done with the help of AP, GP and HP. So let's look at an example and understand what is arithmetic progression, or which is abbreviated as AP. So arithmetic progression is a series in which the terms of the series can be increased or decreased by a fixed number. In this, the first term is denoted by A and the difference, that is common difference, is denoted by D. So the D is nothing but common difference and the first term is denoted by A. So the series will be denoted as follows, where we have the first term as A, then we add a difference to this value, and then the difference gets added consecutively, which results in the series in the form of A plus D, A plus 2D, A plus 3D up to A plus n minus 1 times D. The general terms in arithmetic progressions can help you to understand the concept better. So let's look at it. So for example, if you want to find out the first term, then the first term is nothing but A and it is denoted by A plus 0 times D. So for an arithmetic progression, obviously there will not be any difference for the first term. In case of the second term, there will be a difference. So it will be nothing but the n minus 1th term of the series times the difference. So for example, if you find the second term of your series, then it will be A plus 1D. In case of the third term, it will be A plus 2D. In case of fourth term, it will be A plus 3D and so on. So in a similar manner, the last term can also be calculated. So it is also denoted by L, and it is calculated as A plus n minus 1 times D, where D is the common difference and n is the number of terms in this series. Let's look at an example. So if we want to find the fourth term of the given AP and we have certain numbers provided here and there is a question mark at the fourth position, we have to find it and some options are mentioned. So how do we find it? First of all, we need some basic information from the question itself. So we know that there is A, that is 7. We have D, that is the common difference. So 12 minus 7 is 5. And then we have N, that is the fourth term which is requested. So the fourth term can be calculated by the formula A plus 3D, and we have difference D, so it is equal to 5. Putting the values in the formula, we get the answer as 22. So the option number D is the correct answer in our case. Now let's look at the sum of terms in AP, and this is one of the most important topics because directly questions on AP are not asked in a very easy manner. They ask it in terms of sum, so that is really important to know. So sum of terms in an AP is denoted by S of n, where n is the subscript and n is nothing but the term up to which the sum is desired. So it can be up to the 50th term or it can be up to the 100th term, depends on the question. Now let's look at some terminologies. So the sum is given by S of n, which is equal to n by 2 times 2a plus n minus 1 times d, where n is the number of terms in the AP and a is the first term in the AP, and the common difference is denoted by D, as we saw in the previous slide. Similarly, if you have the first and the last term of your AP, then in that case the sum is given by n by 2 times A plus L. So A is the first term and L is the last term. Now any term of an AP can be found if we know the difference of the sum. So as we discussed in the second type on the problems which can be asked in the examinations, we can find out the nth term by calculating the difference of two sums provided they have given us with these two sums. So in that case we have to find the nth term. This can be done by calculating the difference of the consecutive sum. So for example, if you want to find out the fifth term, so you have to calculate the difference between the sum up till the fifth number and the difference up till the fourth number. So the difference will give you the fifth term, because of which there is a difference in S4 and S5. Now let's look at some example. We need to find the sum of the given series. So we have certain elements in our series. So obviously you have first detail, which is the number of elements. So in this case you can find out n. You have the first detail, that is the first number. You have the first number, that is minus 38. So you know there is n, there is a. Again you have the last term, that is minus 8. So you also have l. So basically you have all the required details, and now you have to find out. So certain options have been given to us, and these were the basic data which we extracted from the question. So you can simply put it in the formula, and then putting the values you can get the answer. So in this case our answer is nothing but minus 161. Now let's look at another example which does not look like a question in AP but can be solved using AP, because the question is actually from AP but it does not seem to belong from that particular category. So let's look at it. So what is the sum of all three-digit numbers that leave a remainder of 2 when divided by 3? Now, looking at the question, it might seem like a brainly question and you have to run your brain, but that is not the case. If you look closely in the question, it is asking for a sum, and if it asks for a sum, then it's certainly going to be a question from AP. So in that case, what you can do is, first of all, calculate the details which can lead you to the answer. So for example, if we look at this, we are asking for the sum of all the three-digit numbers, which means that we are talking about a range starting from the smallest three-digit number to the largest three-digit number. So in this case, if we start with 100, 100 is not a number which on dividing gets a remainder 2. So in that case, we move with the next number, that is 101. So in case of 101, it will provide us with a difference of 2 when divided by 3. So our first term in that case will be 101. So A is going to be 101. The next number which gives us a remainder 2 will be 104. Further, the next number which will give us a remainder 2 will be 107. So calculating 2 to 3 terms helps us to get the numbers inside of our AP. And as you can see that the difference between 104 and 101 or 107 or minus 104 gives us 3. So we have D is equal to 3. Again, the largest three-digit number that will leave the remainder 2 can be easily calculated. If we start counting from 1000 towards the bottom, you can see that 999 will obviously evaluate to 0 because it's completely divisible by 3, and 998 is the last term that will be leaving the remainder of 2 on dividing by 3. So we have A and we have L. Now we need one more term, N, because the question is asking for the sum of all the three-digit numbers. So now we also need the number n. Now as you know that 998 is nothing but first term plus n minus 1 times d, and we don't know n, so we have to find out n in this case, and the n is found out by using the formulas which we saw in the previous slide. So n is nothing but 300. So now we have three details, that is n, a and l. So we can use it in our formula for sum and find out the answer. So our answer is 164850, that is the option number 2. So it was not looking like a question in case of progressions, but it belongs to the category of progressions. Now let's look at geometric progression. Geometric progression is a bit different from arithmetic progression. The only difference which you will see is that in case of arithmetic progression, we used to have a common difference, but in case of geometric progression, we have a common ratio. So if you look at the examples here, let's look at the first example. As you can see that 4 divided by 2 gives 2, 8 divided by 4 gives 2, 16 divided by 8 gives 2, 32 divided by 16 gives 2, which means that there is a constant ratio between the consecutive elements. If you look at the third example in this case, you will find out that on dividing 1 by 12 by 1 by 4, you will get 1 by 3, which is a common ratio across all the consecutive elements. So in case of geometric progression, we have a constant ratio. In case of arithmetic progression, we have a constant difference. So in this example, or the examples which are mentioned here, the common ratios are 2, minus 2, 1 by 3 and 1 by 6 respectively. So I hope you got the basic understanding of geometric progression. Now let's look at some important points in geometric progression which can help you to evaluate your answers in a better manner. In a GP, any term can be obtained by multiplying the preceding term with the common ratio of the GP. So any term which you want to find out, you simply multiply the preceding term with the common ratio and you get the answer. Through this point, you can also infer that if you know any one term and the common ratio, then your entire GP is done. So you can calculate the entire GP with these two details. And the first term and the common ratio of our GP are generally denoted by A and R. So those are the abbreviations which we use for the first term and the common ratio respectively. So you should know about it. So now if A is the first term and R is the common ratio, then there are some general terms in GP which we can obviously get from the details. So if you look at the second term, that is T2, it is found out by multiplying the common ratio with the previous term, that is T1. Similarly, if you want to find out T3, it is found out by the product of T2 and R. So just as we discussed in the previous slide, that the previous term is multiplied with the common ratio to find out the term that is next. So that is happening here. And in general, if you want to find out any term of your GP, you use the formula A into R to the power n minus 1. So how do we arrive at this formula, that is A into R to the power n minus 1? It is basically by evaluating the terms which we have seen here on the screen, but that is beyond the scope of this video. So you can refer for some articles, you can find it, but the general term of the GP will be given by A into R to the power n minus 1. So now let's look at an example. So the example says that we need to find out the nth term and the 12th term of the following series. So we have been given three terms in our series and we have to find out the nth and the 12th term, which means we have to calculate two answers in this question. So starting with the first, we have A is equal to minus 6 and we have a constant ratio of minus 3. So if you divide 18 by 6, you will get minus 3. If you divide 54 or minus 54 by 18, you will get minus 3. So our ratio is minus 3 in this case. And we have n is equal to 12 for the second part of our question. So first of all, the nth term is given to us. So we know that the nth term can be calculated using the formula which we just saw, that is A into R to the power n minus 1, which will give us minus 6 into 3 to the power n minus 1. Now, if we want to find out the 12th term, we simply put the value of n is equal to 12. So we find out that our answer is minus 6 into minus 3 to the power 11, which is nothing but 2 into 3 to the power 12. So the negatives cancel themselves out. Now let's look at some sum of terms in GP. So just as we saw the sum of terms in AP, there is a concept of sum of terms in GP as well. Now the sum of n terms in GP is given by A into R to the power n minus 1 upon R minus 1, where n is the number of terms of GP, A is the first term in the GP, and R is the common ratio in our GP. However, if you want to find out the sum of infinite sequences, it is given by A upon 1 minus R. So A is again the first term and R is the common ratio. So that is self-explanatory. Now let's look at an example. So if you want to find out the sum of this infinite sequence, wherein we have 7 minus 1, 1 by 7 and minus 1 by 49. So again, you can find out some details. First of all, the question demands an infinite sequence for which we have just seen the formula. Second, you need to find out the details which we will put in that formula. So first of all, you need the first term, that is A, and you need the common ratio, that is R. So if you divide the second term by the first, you obtain the common ratio of minus 1 by 7. If you obtain the ratio of third divided by the second, you obtain the ratio of minus 1 by 7. Before even proceeding inside the question, you need to first check if the difference is a key factor which you can use or the ratio is the key factor which you can use. Because if the difference is common, then you can easily find out that the series is an AP, and if it has a common ratio, then you can find out that the series is a GP. So in this case, we have A and R, and putting the values in the formula, you can find out the infinite sum, that is 7 by 8, by putting the values in the above formula. Now let's look at harmonic progression, which is the third part in the progression which students just skip because it's too much for them to just handle AP and GP. However, to clear the confusion out, harmonic progression is nothing but the inverse of AP. That's it. That's the most basic or the easiest way in which you can learn harmonic progressions. So a sequence of non-zero numbers is said to be a harmonic progression if the sequence 1 by A1 plus 1 by A2 plus 1 by A3 are in AP. So let's look at an example. So for example, you have these numbers or these elements in your HP. Then 1, 1 by 4, 1 by 7, 1 by 10 is in a harmonic progression if 1, 4, 7, 10 are in arithmetic progression. So now, since you know from this video that arithmetic progression is calculated by knowing the common difference and the first term, so your first term is 1 and your common difference is d. So here the common difference is going to be 3. So 4 minus 1 or 7 minus 4 or 10 minus 7 is going to result in 3. So you know that these elements are in a arithmetic progression, so their inverse will guaranteed be in a harmonic progression. That's it. That's the only example, or that's the only way you can understand it. It is that easy. So some general terms in harmonic progression: given A the first term and D the common difference, then a general harmonic progression is represented as follows. So basically, if you remember arithmetic progression, it is very easy to understand harmonic progression. You can see that the denominator has the value a or a plus d or a plus 2d, and it will go on until a plus n minus 1 times d. There's a typo in the last term, so forgive me for that. So just like in your AP, you would have this, the inverse of it is present in the harmonic progression. So just keep in mind that harmonic progression is the inverse of AP and you will easily crack it. So the nth term in harmonic progression is given by 1 by the nth term of AP. And we will be looking at an example to clear the confusion that will help you understand harmonic progression better. Some important points before we move on to the example in harmonic progression. Three numbers A, B and C are in harmonic progression if and only if 1 by A, 1 by B and 1 by C are in arithmetic progression. So this is really important. So first of all, you need to check if the first three terms are in arithmetic progression. If it is so, then only you can proceed with your question and do calculations as if it was a harmonic progression. There is no term of harmonic progression which can be 0. So always ensure that no term of a harmonic progression can be 0, which is quite obvious because in your AP you don't have any element which is resulting to a value called 0. So that's not possible in a harmonic progression. Or else if there is a arithmetic progression which has a term 0 in it, then that term cannot be, or that series cannot be converted into a harmonic progression, because there is no term in harmonic progression that can be 0. There is no general formula for finding the sum to n terms in harmonic progression, just like we have in arithmetic progression and in geometric progression. This is something which we don't have in harmonic progression, that is not possible. And the reciprocal of terms of harmonic progression are in AP, and then the properties of AP can be used. So the last term is really important because that helps you to get assured that if your progression is harmonic, then you can easily convert it so that it changes to an AP and you can do all your operations as if it was an AP and then again convert it into HP. So let's look at an example. So we have to find the 100th term of the sequence 1, 1 by 3, 1 by 5, 1 by 7. So how do you do it? First of all, convert this harmonic progression to AP. Before even doing this step, you need to check if this progression is in a harmonic progression or not. So how you do it? First of all, check if 1, 3, 5, 7 are in AP. So you can see that A is equal to 1 and D is equal to 2. That is the common difference across all the consecutive elements. So we know that the series are in an arithmetic progression. So by the formula of AP, we are calculating the 100th term, because as we mentioned that if the progression is a harmonic progression, then we can convert it into an AP, perform operations on it as if it was a AP, and then convert our result back to an HP. So we are doing the same thing here. So the 100th term of an AP is calculated as A plus 99D from the previous slides. So if you have not watched it, go and check it out. And then we have the 100th term, we calculated it, and just take the inverse of it. So we have 1 upon 199. That is the 100th term of our HP. That's it for your harmonic progression. So I hope you got to know the difference between AP, GP and HP. In case of AP, always remember that there is a common difference. In case of HP, always remember that it's an inverse of AP. And in case of GP, always remember that there is a common ratio. That's it for the AP, GP and HP, and that can help you to just solve the questions in a much better manner. So I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. So if this video was beneficial for you, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video, share this video, and also join our Telegram channel for all the latest videos and the notifications for all our future videos, along with which you get to experience the quizzes which we put on a daily basis. be it aptitude, be it any kind of database questions, anything, we are going to ask it and it can help you in your preparation as well. So also make sure to check that out. So that's it from my side. Once again, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and as always, keep learning.